We're told that Jesus experienced, suffered, expressed uncharacteristic anger and painful passion in his final days. Possibly me too, it seems. A feeling of frustration, anger, deep sorrow at being so ineffective, saving so few, if any, and he didn't feel he had saved any in his lifetime. Certainly none of the apostles. I have failed at saving, at reaching any of those that I've most cared to do. That's very difficult to deal with in not a dissimilar way than the double black diamond slopes that I used to ski were very difficult to deal with. That doesn't mean regrettable, but very difficult to deal with. And yesterday, it took quite a toll on me. I don't have a dark day, 1 in 100, maybe not 1 in 600, but yesterday was somewhat dark. As I experienced the objective total failure I've had in reaching those that I have most wanted to reach throughout my lifetime. And the way that affected me was the problem. It pushed me out of my loving spirit into my fearful, sorrowful, frightened, blind, fleshly spirit. And it's taken me hours to claw my way back toward my loving spirit. And I'm pretty well back. Focusing on the unknown 1 or 5 or 10 or 1,000 or 10,000, maybe 50 years from now, maybe 100 years from now, maybe 1,000 years from now, that will be yearning to see the path that we are so determined to not see now, the path of loving. If I haven't shared, I've been aware in recent days, I'm not nearly the failure that Jesus was in terms of external impact. He's had 2,000 years, and there haven't been 100,000 on this planet in all that time that have followed his teaching. Oh, they followed the teaching of what calls itself the church in the Old Testament, and Paul and John and others, but Jesus' teaching? No, they hate that. They hate that. Gandhi said full effort is full success. An evolution of what he said would be that loving is full success. That's the only success. Loving is the only success. I was in a multi-decade relationship where the person I so desperately wanted to love me couldn't. And when I finally found the courage to face that, 17 years or so into the relationship, there was one of those almost never happens in my life experiences where I think I learned what I needed to learn from a book, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is a book I love to hate because there's almost no originality in it, and he's honest about that. He's very clear about that. He's spent years sifting through the greatest minds, and he really did a good job of organizing the book. I have to give him that much. And there was, I can picture it, I was on the top of a left-hand page. I haven't read the book in 15 years or more. He, as senior people in the Mormon Church are, they're counselors to one another. It's a church that I think has some strong attributes, but overall it's a cult like the rest. And I think he was describing counseling someone, a man, who said, my wife doesn't love me, what should I do? And he said, love her. He said, no, you don't explain, my wife doesn't love me, what should I do? And he said, love her. He said, love is a verb. I remember that passage having a big impact on me. Whether it was one of encouragement or just fundamental enlightenment, I don't know. I had been loving this individual, but it gave me a courage and a clarity that I get when I see ideas not just from inside me, but from others as well. Loving is the only success. Loving is the only success. Now, another of those rare instances where I'd have to say I learned something from another. I don't recall whether it was Tolstoy's The Gospel in Brief in recent months. I think it may have been. I don't remember that Tolstoy said it exactly, but he came so close that I'll credit him. In his translation and understanding of Jesus, that we're to return good for evil. When people do evil to us, including indifference, we are to give good. We are to love. That's what we are to give. We are to give love when evil, indifference, dismissal, distortion are done to us. Well, if loving is its own reward, and if loving is the ultimate human experience, when one is loving, that is what produces joy, and joy is the ultimate reward, then that prescription of to return loving for evil, indifference, ignoring, dismissal, it is also a prescription to the one who otherwise would be hurt. Don't stop breathing. Don't stop eating. Don't stop loving. Why hurt yourself? Why deprive yourself? It's not that crass, it's not that selfish, but that's one of the... It's a central benefit, fuel, truth. So yesterday I hit a triple black diamond slope, thank God. And hitting those, I maybe avoid the cliff or the avalanche, and so far. If it doesn't kill you, you grow. But just like Jesus, toward the end of his life, really hit desperately difficult triple diamond, quadruple diamond slopes, the truths that were crashing in on him, I can relate. Loving is the only success. Each breath that is spent loving is a success. Each breath that is not is a failure. That's it. That's all.